Depends on how much ass you're eating.
Hello and welcome to episode number 80 of Unrelenting Pop the Bottles, man. 80.
That's a fine age.
Yeah, 80. If you can make it that far.
That's true. So I'm kind of surprised you didn't do a sound check.
Why did you change? Well, you went to the Apple, huh?
No, I'm on the SM7B.
Oh, your fake SM7B. That's right.
Yes, my fake ass SM7B. That sounds just like the real one.
Because I've got you on. Let's see. Let me turn off the. I have the EQing on that I have set up for your old mic. So let me turn that off now.
Well, not only that, but this mic, I'm not getting into the yellows like I was on the other one. So I'm a little quieter.
You're a little quieter. We got to get a good level.
Quieter with about the same distance between the mic and my mouth. So,
well, we do know that the real SM7Bs take a lot to drive.
Mm-hmm.
So you need a cloud lifter or something. And I agree with you. They should come with them. The Shure people, they should start making their own, or they should make a deal with cloud
this
lifter.
Price point, they should.
Yes. And they're not all created equally. I've tested some of those little boosters that have a lot of self noise to them.
Oh yeah, totally.
The cloud lifter is very
quiet. I've tested it, tested the noise levels, and it is very quiet.
It does sound less bottom endy. So you're right when you say when I switch from what I'm using now, the RE20 to the SM7B, some of the low end goes away.
Right.
It's not a bad sounding mic. Does it feel like a real one?
It's not a bad sounding mic. Yeah, it's heavy as shit, dude. I'm telling you, I think it is a real one, honestly. And I don't know if it's a real one that has a serial number or not, but it's definitely a real mic.
Well, yeah, you can see it. It's there.
No, that's not what I mean. I mean, this is like back in the old camera days, back when film was what cameras ran on. You could buy the exact same Canon cameras, same Nikon cameras, but for hundreds of dollars less because they weren't targeted for the United States. And they were meant to be sold in Asian countries. And they're still made in the same factories, but they have a much lower price point. Much like drugs, as I've come to realize more and more, have a very different price point, whether they're meant to be sold in the United States or Mexico.
Yeah, it's a scam.
It is a total scam. There's a new drug that I'm testing right now.
Uh-oh.
I have a prescription.
Oh, okay.
Yes, not that kind of testing. But the insurance company's like, yeah, we don't think we need to pay for this. This is not, you don't need this. Right? And so if the insurance company pays for it, it comes out to $250 a month. If the insurance company doesn't pay for it, it's $1,200 a month. If I buy it in Mexico, it's $200 a month.
Damn. And now
with no insurance.
You're guaranteed it's the same quality druggage?
Yeah, they're all made in India.
No, that would make sense.
Yeah. So the fact that you can literally cross a border and spend 80% less on medicine, if that's not a big red flag that we have a problem with the medical system in this country, I don't know what is. But I'm using that as just an example of there are a lot of things that have different prices depending on where they're targeted to be sold. And my suspicion with this microphone is the exact same thing. This is an SM7B that was targeted to be sold in Asia.
And one thing we know when it comes to the drugs, if you still watch television, all the ads are drug ads. So where do you think the money's going?
Right. Exactly.
But now I think I've got you dialed in here. With the EQ. Yeah.
Well, don't get too used to it. I may switch back to the old mic.
We turn all the EQing off. Okay, now give me a test.
Giving you a test.
And then we turn it all right back on. And
all right. And now the test is done.
Yeah, it's beautiful. I mean, I'm not giving you any of the compression or anything. Just a nice little EQing.
Well, and this mic, I think, does, from what I've noticed anyway, it does have a little bit brighter sound than the RE320.
And it shouldn't if it's a real SM7B.
Well, I mean,
it's a good sound. Know, man. I'm not saying
it definitely sounds to me like the 320 is a little bit less bright,
which is the exact opposite of any review I've ever heard, and exactly the opposite of my own personal experience, which is the 320 is a very bright mic.
Would you say a 320 is a bright mic when I've been using it?
No.
Okay. Let me phrase it this way. I think the 320 versus the RE20, the 320 is definitely a brighter mic.
Gotcha.
Okay. I'm not saying in the absolute, but I do think from what I've played back recording myself on this mic that maybe, you know what, maybe it is just less low end. Maybe that's what it is.
It could be
just less low end, but I just feels like this mic is a little bit more crisp, a little more.
Ned said a little too bright, and they said, "Oh, maybe not. I only had one earbud in, but in the interim, I lowered the brightness." So I'm totally screwing with people listening now.
Oh, you did? Oh, yeah. Okay. Well, yeah. So whatever you guys hear is not what the mic sounds like.
Right.
It's gone through the Darren filter.
This is now EQ'd, where I have a slight boost at the high end in the air frequencies. I have a little dip in the high mids, and I have a little dip in the low end, which is usually right about what you see all of these for voiceovers when you go, this is the average cleanup of a microphone. And this is the first time I've used the visual thing in.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I normally just fiddle in with the knobs in the Motu, but this you can pull up.
Yeah.
Oh, Net says you sound like Jen Briney now, so it's perfect. Dialed in.
Jen Briney.
Yeah, Jen Briney from the that podcast that Dvorak liked. That he.
Yeah. I don't think I sound like that, but
no, it was a joke. It's humor. Don't you know what the whole format of the show is yet?
Humor. But nobody told me there was humor.
But you got that microphone for what, $150?
Yeah, somewhere around there.
I may have to order one. I'm curious now just to test that back to back. I want to do, and this is Bandrew. If you're out there, buddy, order one of the $150 cheap Chinese knockoff SM7Bs and do a side by side test and see if they
are a real one.
And it may be because it has looked like it had the right box, and it looked like it. Although
I'm telling you, this thing is. There was nothing at all that would make it even came with a US warranty. There's nothing at all that makes you think that this thing is off.
Which is the beauty of it, because that is a good knockoff, would be the one that you're like, looks real.
I'll tell you what, you can get a good Rolex knockoff for about $3,000.
Yeah, which is way cheaper than a real Rolex.
Which is way cheaper than a real Rolex, but way more than most people want to spend.
It was not off of AliExpress.
I'm totally okay with that.
It was off of the Newegg, which has a lot of third-party sellers.
Yep.
And this came out of China, right? This was delivered out of China?
No, it was delivered out of California.
Out of California? Interesting.
Yeah.
And it said it was made in Mexico.
It's made in Mexico, came out of California, sold from Hong Kong.
It's okay. Hong Kong seller shipped out of California, made in Mexico. Yep. There's somebody trying to cover some tracks like a Biden crime family.
Yeah. If it had a Ukraine stamp on it, I'd start getting suspicious.
Yes. Well, that's what it. I mean, part of your dollar obviously went to the Ukraine, though. I mean, if the company is being respectful of the world around it.
Yeah.
That's interesting. It sounds really good compared to what I would have guessed. Although otherwise you would get a return, because I'm assuming you could still return this if it was.
Yeah. It's got full refunds. Yeah.
El Garbaggio.
So should I get more?
I mean, it sounds pretty decent. I would. Now I really want to hear it next to side by side with an actual. Right.
Yeah, like a fully priced version. Yeah.
Yes, and because a lot of the times that's what Bandrew
I've never
does.
bought one of those, so I can't do a comparison because to me, that was way overpriced for that mic, especially considering the Cloud Lifter thing. So it seemed like it was a ridiculous amount of money.
Right, because about the time you're said and done with the Cloud Lifter, you're at like $600 now.
Yeah, exactly, and it's just So I got the 20, and then when I tried the 320, I'm like, perfect. 320 is exactly what I like.
See, Brooklyn says too nasally. That's just Gene's voice. There's not much we can do except try to keep pulling that thing down a little. I think you're just
messing with the settings there just to make me sound worse. I always expected that, and this kind of proves it now.
See, but I'm pulling them down in the areas that should be nasally, but we're just trying to make it sound
1.2K
as best as we can. Yeah. Right at about 2K. Yeah.
Yeah.
But like I said, sounds way better than I would have guessed for $150. If you were to take the branding off of it and just say it was $150,
you'd say that's a pretty damn good mic for $150.
Yeah. For a generic mic, that would be like, hey, it sounds like it should.
Yeah. They're celebrating the 80th anniversary of this mic.
50th of the SM7B.
Okay.
Yeah.
I thought it was the 80th. Yeah, no, you're right. It's the 50th.
That's why I was really like, wow, Bandrew got
old ass mic, man.
Yeah. He got a 50th anniversary edition. I was like, ooh, that's mic envy.
Mm-hmm.
They're not even selling them. It's just boom. They sent it to him because he's the mic guy.
Yeah.
So that's the one benefit, even though
it's amazing how few subscribers you need to be the mic guy.
He has enough for that niche. Or niche, do you say?
It's not a very big number, man. I watched a bunch of his videos last week. Partly because I was hoping he would have bought one of these and see if I could find the review.
Like, did you do one of the knockoffs? Should it be made out of Mexico? I don't get it. Were these hot? I mean, also, it's possible they were all stolen.
It could be. They could just be stolen mics that are resold through Hong Kong just to keep the U.S. police out of it.
Which would not be hard to believe.
Yeah.
Although if you're selling it out of California, they're not going to arrest you for doing anything in California these days.
No, well, I mean, again, made in Mexico, sold in Hong Kong, shipped out of California. You get away with anything in any of those countries.
You're like wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Nothing to see here. I did get my money back from PayPal, so I was happy about that.
For what?
For the $75 autographed item I bought from somebody on Facebook that never arrived.
Oh, okay. Well, that's good.
And it took PayPal a long time, I will say. Little professional hint here, because it kept getting pushed back. At first, it was like, the expected resolution date was this. And then the next week, it was pushed back a week. And the next week, it was pushed back a week. So I finally sent a message to their customer service on X or Twitter. Even though they don't post anything on there, obviously they still have somebody monitoring that. And they're like,
of course,
we'll look into that. And then almost immediately the credit was there.
This is funny because this is literally like the most useful part of Twitter, which they still haven't fully converted to X because a lot of stuff still says Twitter. But it's like it says, oh, such and such person liked your tweet on X.
They're getting there.
That was always something that was the most useful part, which is you're at the airport, your airplane gets bumped, you post a nasty thing to the airline on Twitter publicly. Oh, look at that. There's a personal agent taking care of rebooking you and getting you a free upgrade. Look at that.
We'll get you a credit right here. We'll take care of you.
It's always better when it's done in public.
Well, yes, because then they want to respond in public like, no, we took care of this.
They want to look good. It's like, no, it's all good. We'll take care of you. We take care of our people.
Yes.
Except for the last 3 weeks, you've been fucking me around here.
Right. In my case, I didn't even do it in public. I just did it a direct message. So I was kind of surprised that it got immediate.
You didn't even, they must have thought it was public.
Maybe. Or maybe they
realize it was a DM.
Maybe had one person that was like, oh, we care about what's going on here.
Oh, come on.
There has to be one.
Oh, come on.
But I still think it's funny that the person that I bought the item from wouldn't respond to me. And it's like, do you think...
Well, that's a good sign.
But here's the thing. I just think it's an idiot female millennial. Sorry for all the idiot female millennials out there. But I am an overall reasonable person.
And that is the crowd that listens to your music. So.
That's true. That is true.
Mm-hmm.
That I would have probably taken less than 100% for just a quick refund because I do believe that the item was sent out. There was a tracking number that came as close to my town as you can get and then got lost. But when PayPal, then when I opened that up with PayPal,
which shipping method?
It was media mail, of course, which never send anything USPS media mail.
That's literally like the most unguaranteed method you can do.
Yes. So you're taking a dice roll at the very best. The thing right before this that I had shipped media mail was a bunch of records from my buddy here in the northern suburbs who owns a record store. So literally going from the northern suburbs to the southern suburbs of Chicago took
still pretending you live in Chicago. All right.
I said suburbs. I didn't say in Chicago. And the suburbs of Chicago.
Yeah.
It took over 2 weeks to get for media mail for that distance. So, but the woman, whatever she is, I don't know how old. When PayPal opened up the case, she responded with the tracking number. And I'm like, you can see the tracking number says it was not delivered. What do you think PayPal is going to do if your whole case is, well, here's my tracking number, and the tracking number doesn't show as being delivered? You're going to lose.
Yeah, that's a good question. So, with media mail, there is no insurance. So it's not like she can get that money back from somewhere else. So the PayPal just took that money out of her account.
Yeah, the PayPal took it. I believe the package went out, but it got lost. And when I sent her the link, and I was even nice, I sent the link directly to the USPS page to do a mail search. Because I'm guessing if it wasn't stolen, which it's possible it was, but if it wasn't stolen, they knew the last place that it was. And if it was something where maybe the tag got ripped, the tag fell off, if you could explain to them what the package looked like, they might have been able to find it. But again, no response at all. It's like, I'm not being a dick. I wasn't like, hey, you didn't say. I'm like, there's a problem. PayPal will take it back. And again, I'm reasonable. Rather than wait for a month for 100% of my $75, I would have been able to negotiate and been like, okay, I believe you're honest. I believe you sent it. I know you're going to get screwed on this. So how about
much would you take? 70?
I would have probably gone, maybe even half. Like, just send me $40. I understand, although it then comes down to, did you offer a better shipping method, which everybody should? Because if you offer the first class, or I don't even know if you can send a lot of stuff first class, it's all priority mail.
How big is this thing?
A record.
You bought a record that was autographed.
A record that had an insert that was autographed. Yes.
God. All right. Well,
but if you would have at least offered and said, hey, well, I can send this UPS, I can send it FedEx, I can send it priority mail. But if you want to cheap out,
$180.
Right. But if you want to cheap out and go media mail, here's the deal. We make a deal up front.
Yep.
That if it gets lost, then it's on you because you're deciding to take media mail, something that can't be insured. I believe you're correct. I don't think you can even insure media mail. I don't
think you can insure it. Nope.
No, it wasn't Taylor Swift net. It was Sabrina Carpenter, who is touring with Taylor Swift. So close.
Yeah.
That's why it was that cheap.
Think of girl band when you think of Darren.
Right. It's either Frank Sinatra, Ted Nugent, Bruce Springsteen, or a girl band.
Yeah, it's mostly a girl band, though.
If you look at my listing on, Last FM, I think Taylor Swift is up towards the top, but so are the Beatles and Sinatra and the Pogues. I have a wide variety of musical genres that I listen to. And it's like, that's much better. It is. It's a wide variety of, I was like, I can flip this, man. I saw it selling on eBay for $110. The same thing. So I'm like, this is a good deal. And the best deal is it never shows up.
Yeah, exactly.
But again, offer
I am still waiting for some night vision goggles to show up.
From where'd you order them from? Moscow?
China, obviously. Where else would I get them?
I don't know. I don't know where your sources are.
No, they don't make those in Moscow.
I mean, now that you actually got paid for this show, when I was like, wow, there's some money there.
I was shocked. I tell you.
Shocked. You're like, this could buy at least a couple meals.
Exactly. No, I kind of figured you were,
pocketing all the money.
Well, I expect that, but yeah.
No, it's like 80% is from Dale in Australia. So thank you.
I know.
That was the weirdest thing. did the accounting. So I sent off a payment to my buddy Larry from Planet Rage, to Ryan from Grumpy Old Ben's, and to you.
You pay Ryan?
Yeah, I know. I really shouldn't.
God.
And they were all about in the same amount. Within $100, they were all in the same amount. And I'm like, they are so differently accumulated. The Unrelenting is a very small group of dedicated people, mainly named Dale, which is a different.
Yes, exactly. A group of people named Dale.
It's a much different way to go. So thank you, Dale, once again.
Yes.
And I noticed from winning, I mean, I don't hope this isn't too inside baseball or top secret knowledge, but I won the No Agenda artwork yesterday, the first one in a long time. And the one I had won before
they didn't accept AI.
This one wasn't AI, actually. So there was not.
Wink, wink, nudge, nudge.
No, I put a couple of AI where I used AI yesterday. Those didn't win. But the one that I did the old-fashioned way of pulling a Duracell package down and just changing Duracell to No Agenda, which you don't need AI for that.
Right.
That one won. But the last one that I won was right when No Agenda started doing the lightning payments with all of this podcasting 2.0 stuff.
Oh, wow. It's been a while.
Yeah. So
I'll tell you, I get shit from Adam every time I text with him about not listening to No Agenda. And I do. What he has to understand is he's the one that changed the goddamn time of the show that made it impossible for me to listen live. So I don't listen the day it's broadcast. I'm generally yesterday I drove down to San Antonio. I had several hours of time in the car to listen to podcasts. So I did that. And of course, I listen at 3x so I can get through several hours worth of podcasts in about half an hour.
Well, that's perfect.
It's, yeah. Which, I catch up, but I'm never, like, whenever I talk to him, he's like, oh, we talked about that in the show. I guess you still don't listen. I'm like, fuck you. I listen, but not on the goddamn day you do it. I'm probably a week to several weeks behind generally. Luckily, I don't use them to get my news, so I don't have to rely on immediate information. I listen to it because it's like coming down to the cigar shop and sitting around and chatting with old friends, except in this particular case, I'm surprisingly not talking. I'm mostly listening when I listen,
which is rare.
Yeah, but that's why I do it. It's not like, oh, what are the insights Adam's going to have? I know exactly what kind of insights Adam's going to have. I'm still going to listen to it, but I'm not going to necessarily do it on the day or within the several days, in fact, when it's shown.
Well, I was listening 100% live until the time change, and now that I'm watching NASCAR again, back in the scene when the show was 2 hours earlier, it was almost always done before the races started on Sunday. Now that it's 2 hours later, it's always just right about the beginning.
It was a much more convenient time previously. Like 11 a.m. Central Time is perfect if you live in Central Time.
Yes.
Because it's after the morning stuff that you need to get done that you may need to pay attention to. But it's sort of starts before lunch and it goes on before anything really happens later in the day. Like that slot from 11 to 2:30 or so generally is easy to be plugged in and ignore the rest of the world.
I would agree.
At least for me.
And we'll see what this show for Sunday will be, because Adam asked John if he would do the show an hour earlier. And Dvorak was like, we'll see. Because
what's with all the West Coast people bitching about having to get up? They're the ones that chose to live there, after all.
True. But Adam's going to be over in Europe, so he's like, it's going to be like 8 o'clock starting time, PM for me. So maybe if you could do it an hour early, that would be nice. That would be nice. But the first day, even less than the first day, because, they published this yesterday afternoon, have already made like $26 in sats from winning the art. Where the last time around, I think it was like $5 or $6 was the total. So it shows more people are streaming the Satoshis and sending the boost via Podcasting 2.0 to support the show, which is really cool.
For people that can get them, sure.
Yeah, for them.
For them people.
For them folk that can do what they do. And it's getting easier and easier to get into that, so that's cool. But there's a lot of people still that you talk about it and what you have to do in order to send the Satoshis, and you still get that kind of glazed reaction of what?
Somebody really should make an app, a podcast app that obfuscates the Satoshis. Like the user interface portion should just all be done in dollars.
Oh, I agree.
But in the back end, it sends Satoshi. So it's like, oh, would you like to send the dollar?
Yeah, I don't know if they do that at all or not, but I don't think
any of them do that. I think all of them ask you for the number of Satoshis. But here's what I think. I think if you did it in dollars, maybe euros for, folks in that part of the world, although they probably don't have any money to send these days. But for people that still have money to send, if you, the conversion is almost 1-to-1 at this point. But if you just do it in dollars and you say, what would you like to send, like 50 cents per minute or a quarter a minute, people would be like, a quarter a minute. That sounds about right. That's fine, right? That's a reasonable rate. What does that come out to? Like
a lot?
No, not really. It's it comes out to $15 an hour. So $15 an hour, that's reasonable.
It depends how much you make doing your job. But then you turn
that into Satoshis, and that's like 8 million Satoshis per hour.
Right. And there is that
nobody
disconnect.
In their right mind would ever send you that much. There's a problem that I have with Satoshis from somebody who has studied game theory most of their lives and who's both played video games and written games. The idea of doing micropayments is meant to get people to increase, not decrease, the amount of spending. And with Satoshis, it's a definite decrease in the amount of spending. Because people think, well, shit, I just sent like 5,000 of them SAT things. That's a pretty generous, hefty donation I just made. Yeah, 11 cents. Congratulations.
Yeah, it sounds a lot more impressive in Satoshis. But I mean, you can let people, and all you have to do is have it do a query on what the current Bitcoin trading rate is.
Yeah.
And you can show it in US dollars by default.
But you can't, there's literally not even a small enough denomination. it's in pennies.
Right, but you can still.
Here's what I would have done. I'm not saying that somebody should have come and talked to me.
Well, they should have, obviously.
Number. But I'm just saying, if I would have been asked about this, being an expert in business things and all, and
you're a totally legitimate businessman.
That says I'm a legitimate businessman, exactly. It should have been K Satoshis from the get-go. Like your minimum denomination should have been 1,000 Satoshis. You would have been, because it would have been K Satoshis, it would have been different from what everybody else is doing. And instead of trying to teach people about Bitcoin and Satoshis, you'd have this currency that is directly tradable with US dollars, but people think of as K Satoshis. And then your donations would have been like, well, I'm going to send like 5K or 10K.
Well, 1,000 Satoshis is 29 cents. So maybe 100 Satoshis was perfect because that's like 3 cents. Nobody ever uses pennies.
No, 3 cents is bullshit, dude. It's literally bullshit. 3 cents is that's the rake. Okay. It's too small a number. So when you start doing it let me put an asterisk on that and say at the current price of Bitcoin,
right?
3 or 100 Satoshis is bullshit. Okay. If Bitcoin kept going up back when it was 50, 60,000 and it'd be 100,000 right now, you would have a much better argument.
I mean, it's certainly no coincidence. I don't think that 33 Satoshis currently is worth 1 penny. It's the magic number. It's a penny.
Mm-hmm.
So you send in 33 Satoshis, it's a penny.
Yeah, so 3,300 Satoshis, there's a buck for you.
Yeah, 3333 is 98 cents.
Mm-hmm.
You do 33,333, that's 979. That's almost $10. That's pretty good.
3333?
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's a, well, no. How much is it? It's 10 cents?
Well, 33 is about a penny. 33,333, which is not a multiple of 33.
Oh, 33,000. Okay,
Yes.
I thought you said 3,310 bucks.
No.
I'm like, no, it's not. That's a buck.
Yeah, a buck. So if you want to send a buck, 33.33 is 98 cents. So that's right about a buck.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're absolutely right. A lot of people see
it should have been 1,000.
when you're going to do a boost. I mean, I get confused with that all the time, and I kind of follow this stuff when I'm like, well, how much do I want to boost? I go and I pull up. There's Coinbase, Kraken. They all have a site you can go to and just put in how much money you want
I just
it to
look
be.
at my Stream Deck and it tells me.
Well, you can't just be like, well, okay, I want to do $7.34. What do I send in a Satoshi, for that? You need something that can do that math instantaneously for you. But otherwise, it's like, wow, I'm sending 33,000, or 3,333. It's like, that seems like a lot. Not even a buck.
Not even a buck. Exactly. And that's so the concept is great. Love the concept. Always been a big supporter of the concept. There's just like it's missing the marketing portion.
See, Brooklyn 112 boosted us 999 sats saying, screw the K Satoshis.
Screw the K Satoshis.
That's a t-shirt.
Sorry, we only got 10% of your message, so all we got was screw.
Please, yes, please. So we have a new marketing strategy. If you want boostergrams to be read, one word per every 3,333 sats is what.
Well, now you're getting a little greedy, I think.
I know. Isn't
a
that
buck a word?
Yeah, buck a word, baby. Well,
I think a buck a sentence is probably good. Now,
oh, come on. CSB could write a sentence that's 8,000 words long.
Yeah. Well, that's true. So
Gotta go per word.
The other thing is, what CSB usually send? Because you track all his send donations and shit.
To this show, I believe it's 8,015 usually.
Is that what it is?
There are some that he does 15,033.
Okay, but let's get real. So he sends 8,015. You get 4,000 of that, and then he gets his other 4,000 back.
Because yours never goes through.
Mine never accepts. So realistically, he's really just paying half.
It's genius.
It's great. Yeah. Hey, where's my kickback, man?
Hey, it's not my fault it goes into the ether and goes back to him. I don't get it.
I know. That's why I'm telling him. I'm like, CSB, I want my kickback for not accepting your money.
Now, here's the intriguing thing when it comes to the Lightning stuff. It seems like they know nearly instantaneously when one of them fails. There could be a failover, and I don't know how this would even work.
Mm-hmm.
But for something like our show,
I think it's just there's no retry.
Well,
just tries once.
That. But if there's a 50-50 split and one of the addresses fails, there should be a way to go, well, okay, we'll just send it to the other address that's involved because
I'm not so much in favor of that.
Well, I like that idea when yours constantly fails.
You like that idea. You just want to, because then the person feels like, well, I sent that to them, so they got it. And you're like, well, I got it, so it's mine.
And a millennial. I like this guy. The No Agenda Millennial, he does the MMO show on the No Agenda stream. Yeah. He listened very carefully. He sent in the 6,666 Satoshis, which gives him 2 words, and his 2 words are fuck off.
Nice. Wait, so he sent that or you got that?
It came through, so yeah, 66.66. That's $2.
Well, if you got 66.66, and he would have sent double that amount.
Oh, you mean I don't know if you got it or not? I know what I got.
No, I guarantee you, I didn't get it.
So that's bonus bargain basement right now. You get half off your words on the boostergrams here on Unrelenting because Gene's
because I'm the only one with an actual paid server in Amazon data centers that has this shit running.
Yeah, Bemrose has like a little hobbled together piece of shit old Linux system sitting in his basement underwater. And he gets them.
I got 3,267.
What just came through?
That's what came through to me. 3,267.
Wow, so it is working.
But was that the number?
Well, it was 66.66, so that would be about what your cut would be on it.
Well, I thought you said you got 4,000.
No, 66.66. Come on, Gene.
No.
Drink that tea. Get that caffeine going.
Yeah, that's fine. Okay. So
you aren't failing right now. It's working today.
That one I got. Good. Perfect. My server's running. It's been flawless, except for people that can't send to it from Poland.
Well, that's just because they have permabanned you.
Yeah, probably.
Nobody wants to fund your virtual spaceship collection.
And I love somebody like sending 10 sats per minute here for like 4 hours. Who the hell was listening to our podcast for 4 hours?
I'm trying to do the math. That means it was either 2 episodes or they're listening at 0.5 speed.
Oh, yeah, probably 2 episodes.
And that
0.5 speeds? I'm going to ban them if they're listening at 0.5 speeds.
And that's the interesting thing. The reality is I should probably get like 10 different Get Albie accounts.
Yeah.
Because all of the stuff coming in now for the No Agenda show, a lot of one Satoshi things coming in.
Yeah.
And nobody has a very good, there's few. Conshacks is kind of good. There's a few different services that will look
at. Get a bunch of Albies. They're free, right?
I think so, but I don't know.
They're free until you take your money out and then they take half.
No, they don't take half. Do not lie about the Albie people. And I don't know where they're even taking a percentage. I've never been able to figure that one out.
It's all out of Hong Kong.
Albie's not out of Hong Kong. They're German, I think. They were on Podcasting 2.0. But I've got to clear mine out. I just like to go through and buy gift cards.
I know what I can do. I can set up an account for us for this show, and then I'll keep my other one, and then whatever comes in to this show, then I'll give you half of that.
Well, I'm getting mine just fine. It's you that's having a problem.
We can fix this.
I'm not turning my sats over to you. You're the one that never can get them working right. It's the beauty of just lightning funds going around and around and around and around. But it's an awesome idea for the instant interaction. I mean, where else can you tell the host of a show to fuck off instantaneously for only $1 a word?
Yeah, most shows you could do it for free.
Right. This is even better. This is a better way to go.
Actually, technically speaking, I think Twitch beat us to this a long time ago.
Yeah, but they have hot chicks.
They do have chicks.
They have chicks. Wow.
Yeah. Yeah. No, there is some hotness there, but most of the hotness has gone off of Twitch and onto OnlyFans.
Well, yeah. And are they even real at this point? Are they being enhanced by some kind of AI filters?
Well, the hot ones are fake. Yes, that's a good point. The hot ones are fake. The other ones are real. And I've always really liked the animated ones. There's been a couple of them that have been good. I mean, not all the animated ones.
I do prefer my women to be animated rather than not moving.
You are a sick puppy, you know that?
I'm just saying,
one sick puppy.
You're the one that said it.
I like my women to be animated when I put the spread the oil on their skins.
Was that a CSB impression?
That was a Darren O'Neill impersonation right there.
That was a Darren. So you're doing me doing CSB. That sounded dirtier than I meant it to. Tell the Russian apologist stop talking crazy.
Oh, you're crazy, man. So there's a couple of very talented animator folks. One's a chick, one's a dude. But they both do female characters. But these are like people that are dedicated, like wearing a motion capture suit, which means you're literally in like a neoprene suit for that thing.
Right, to get the ultimate
your fingers are all hooked up to sensors. There's a post dangling off your head with a camera aimed at your face to do the full facial animation. And these are both people that have done the effectively programming. I mean, it's not like text-based programming, but it's essentially the stuff you would do for video games to animate characters using motion capture and using triggers.
Well, the Adobe has software. I mean, it's not as advanced because you don't have all the sensors.
Oh, but it's the same kind of deal. But it's like there's the person that just gets a camera and then uses software like the Adobe one to do a quick and dirty little thing. And then there's people that have literally, these suits cost $8,000.
I believe it. They are high
because
tech.
They're basically like a thin neoprene type suit with wire mesh going throughout the whole thing and sensors about every inch or so that is measuring the distances as you're moving between the sensors so that you can then relay that to the software. And I think both of them were using Unreal Engine for the actual animated character. But very impressive. Plus, on top of it, on top of knowing all the tech stuff and wearing the gear, you have to have a comedic personality. Like you actually have to be able to act as a character, that the character you're portraying on the screen, in real time with people.
Right. The personality is not AI.
The personality is not AI, and it sometimes is not really the same personality as the person would have if they're not acting. But it has to be a very compelling personality. So this is hard work. I don't just think of it as like, oh, this is kind of neat. This is like genuine talent and perseverance combined. But yeah, the obvious benefit is you can create a character that is super cute with jiggly boobs and the whole thing, and it'll never age. It'll, it's like there forever.
Right, it's like The Simpsons.
Just like The Simpsons, except for the jiggly boobs part.
Right.
So I think we're going to start seeing more of that kind of thing, but also not quite as involved with humans. I think we're going to see a lot more people doing the initial sort of, wearing the bodysuit to get the characters' movements programmed in, and then having the software be fully animating them rather than feeding a live signal, which is a lot of work, into the software, do the animation.
Well, it is the next level.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
And there's a lot of people that are obviously right now making money doing the Twitch streams and the YouTube streams.
Yep.
As we've talked about,
Amazon's making a ton of money.
Well, this allows you to do something like that while protecting your identity, which is even better.
Right. Exactly.
Because you can create that character, and that we've talked about that before. It's like, I'm surprised that we haven't already gotten to the point to where OnlyFans is a majority AI characters that people have no idea are AI.
Well, it's that, but OnlyFans is getting more non-sexual stuff going all the time too. Like they're actually getting video game players on there.
Really?
They're getting a lot of people. Their cooking shows are going crazy on there because all it is a platform to monetize.
Right. Which my question would be, why choose OnlyFans then over something like Patreon? They just offer a better deal,
maybe. I think Patreon's not too bad a deal. I think Patreon keeps 10%, if I remember right.
I think they may have gone up now, but I know we still are.
But like Twitch keeps half.
Yes. Oh yeah, and YouTube, if you do
is a third
live, right, for the live super chats or whatever.
Yeah, if OnlyFans is less than that, then that would make it. Plus, I think there might be some benefit to saying, "Oh, I have a cooking show on OnlyFans," and more people tune in.
Well, the name is not inherently dirty. When you hear, "Oh, I'm going to my OnlyFans,"
it's dirty-ish. I mean, it's basically the first thing you think of when you think of OnlyFans is a college girl.
Well, now, but the name itself, devoid of anything you know about the site.
Yeah.
OnlyFans sounds better to me than a site called Patreon, because a lot of people are like, "What's Patreon mean?"
Yeah, exactly. Well, in OnlyFans, I think the original concept for it was to basically compete with Patreon.
To not be dirty.
Mostly do videos. It was not originally marketed as a porn site. But I think that they, being very libertarian-minded, did not immediately shut down the porn side of it, which is, then grew to tremendous numbers to where their top talent in that arena were making crazy money, like 30 million a month.
Yeah, that's not bad. That's
$1 million
more
a day
than we're making here on Unrelenting.
In fact, it is, and it's like we should be making that much.
I think so. I mean, we're getting closer. NetNed sent in 66 Satoshis and used his two words wisely. He said, more coffee. Don't you sell coffee?
Sure, why not? Let's do it. 30 million sats is all we ask.
That's all.
Per month.
What does 30 million get you?
About $10.
Once you're like, once the fees are done and you convert that to U.S. currency.
Yeah. No, it's a little more than that. But so one Bitcoin, which is $29,375, is 10 million Satoshis.
Yes. So 30 million Satoshis would be $8,800.
$60,000.
$8,806.15 currently.
Oh, well, there you go. Perfect.
Which, we'd be very happy with that on a monthly basis.
Yeah. I mean, that would almost be enough to pay Darren's rent and my food bill.
Right. Which are oddly right about the same.
And I think I might be spending more on food.
Well, I don't think that's a surprise.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, oh, I can only have the best sushi flown in direct from Japan.
Yeah, and you don't?
No, I don't.
Oh.
I don't have a sushi guy that flies. You need two sushi guys that are constantly in motion, bringing you fresh sushi from Japan. They put it into a little ice, cooler. They jump on the plane. They fly over. They just go to your house and go back to get more.
Yeah, I mean, you're saying that like it's funny, but I actually do have a guy that ships in sushi once a day from Japan.
See? But does he ship it in or does he bring it himself? There's a difference.
It's definitely an airplane flight.
You need the personal sushi guy to bring it.
It's the same place where all the sushi restaurants buy theirs.
See, Brooklyn says, you could fly to Japan for the sushi. No, that's inconvenient.
No, I do that.
How often?
Not very.
Right. Okay.
Not very often these days. I used to do it more frequently.
Well, if you had a client in Japan, that would be better.
I'll tell you what, sushi was a lot cheaper in Japan back when I used to fly there regularly.
Has that become more of an expense there? Because it was obviously started there, right? I'm not a big sushi guy.
Sushi was, like most ethnic foods, it was just consumed by the locals, right? So whenever there were foreigners, some of them anyway, would try this stuff. But it wasn't like a universal food the way it is right now, where I think people in literally every country now have sushi restaurants somewhere. And I think as the demand went up, a lot of people saw the dollar bills or the yen and realized that, hold up, what if we cater not to the locals, but to the tourists and we charge like 4 times as much?
And they're like, that's a great idea.
Yeah. Because I think the number of expensive sushi restaurants, first time I went to Japan, literally the first time I went to Japan, also the first time I had sushi in Japan, obviously, was in 1999. And then I went about once a year after that. But it was, I remember eating sushi, and I ate sushi almost every day when I was there. Were
you hooked? Like the first time you had it, you were like, "Whoa!"
I liked it. First time I had sushi was in the U.S. actually, but eating it in Japan, it was good and it was cheap. And by cheap, I mean like there was restaurants that were anywhere from $10 up to about $40. And at that time in the U.S., the only sushi places were $40 to $60. And what I mean by the dollar amount is like, given the type of sushi I want to eat, that's how much it would end up costing. But in Japan, there were multiple places, but there's one right next to my hotel in Osaka where, it was like basically $1 a plate.
Damn, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, it was like a conveyor sushi place, and I'd have.
How high were the plates, Gene? How high?
8 and 15 plates, depending on how hungry I was. And so it was probably $10-12 average, and it was very good sushi. It wasn't like shitty cheap sushi. It was cheap, but it wasn't shitty at all. And then the most fancy place I went to, they didn't speak English. That was really fun. So I had to use a super rudimentary Japanese to order sushi. But it worked out in the end.
A lot of pointing, like, I want this.
Yeah, well, it like I had luckily remembered enough Japanese to be able to order the sushi, but it was a real test because it was like, can I communicate and remember the words for these things or go hungry? And you can guess which part of the brain won on that one.
We've all seen Gene, and we know he's not going hungry, so he figured out how to get the food.
I've gotten hungry for a while, and yeah. Although I maybe So the sushi in Japan, I think definitely used to be. And the last time I was there, it was quite a bit more expensive.
Now, what is your go-to steak at a steakhouse?
Filet mignon.
The filet, what size? We got 7, 10, or 14 at Gibson's.
You have a 14
ounce filet.
14-ounce filet.
Uh-huh.
Wow, that's a good cut. So is that like is that like extra thick then, or how do they make it?
I mean, they will butterfly it for you.
Okay, I was wondering about that. Was which way? Because that sounds just like a tenderloin, not a fillet.
Like it's big. That's a big fillet.
Give me just cook the tenderloin. Don't bother trying to make it into a steak. Yeah, I don't know. It's whatever they have. I mean, a lot of places don't have anything over 8 ounces. If I'm super hungry, I'll order 2 of them, which always makes the person I'm with decide that they're not going to pay for the meal. I'll have 2 of the most expensive things on your menu, please. Thank you.
I can see that. It's not bad enough for one, but she's like, let me see. I'll have 2 of the fillets. Give me a lobster tail and then a lobster tail to go. Okay. Would that be cool? Thanks. You're like, you're paying, right? I just want to be sure about this.
Yeah. Hey, thanks for treating.
Yeah. It's interesting though, because I was seeing what the prices currently are at Gibson's, and the 7-ounce filet. Mm-hmm. And this doesn't come with anything else. So this isn't like you're getting your sides or anything. The 7 ounce is $51. Mm-hmm. The 14 ounce is $71. That seems like a bargain.
Yeah, that's not a bad deal for that size. But 7 ounce, what? How do they steal the extra ounce? They're usually 8 ounce.
I know. I was trying to compare Gibson's to another steakhouse the other day, and the Gibson's were always a little bit different.
Yeah.
The big porterhouse, the 48-ounce porterhouse, $150 now.
Oh, that's insane.
The
porterhouse generally was like $65 to $75.
This is the new Biden economy. This stuff has gone up exponentially.
You know what else has gone up? Speaking of Biden economy that I just read about yesterday, is the salaries for UPS workers.
Yes. Oh, yeah. My brother-in-law works for them.
So with the currently negotiated contract, a UPS worker will, by 5 years, will be making $150,000.
That was including their benefits, but their benefits are very good. The actual take-home pay was going up from an average of, I think it was 70 or 75 up to like 95 over the next 5 years. But they do include in there, so all of the insurance and all of those kind of benefits that they get. And my brother-in-law has been there now. He's about a couple of years younger than me, so he's about 50. He's been with UPS since he was 18. I think he started as a driver when he was like 20. So it's like 30 years now. He gets like 3 months off a year. I mean, it's great.
Yeah. So $150,000 salary, and it's
with benefits.
Whatever, with benefits, fine, whatever. Point is, the UPS drivers are making as much money as a lot of white collar workers these days.
Oh, more than a lot. There's no doubt about that. He has been making a lot of money for a long time, and I wasn't sure how this worked. I don't know if this new deal is going to change things.
Yeah,
but he was still working on the union agreement that they made like 25 years ago because he was grandfathered into it. So
luckily they'll all be out of job soon enough.
Well, yeah, because AI and
the flying robot delivery services were going to completely kill off UPS and make Amazon a lot more money.
Well, Amazon's the one, like, I'm glad we went to our own delivery service that they can control.
Because they're not unionized.
And even if they try to go unionize, it'll take a long time to build up to where UPS is. And I understand they deal with a lot of crap. I mean, depending on what area you live in, there are some UPS routes that are better than others. I mean, if you're in Chicago, winter,
don't work there for UPS.
Right, getting shot at. I mean, now if you live in some place where the weather is mild all the time and nobody's shooting at you.
Well, hold on. So getting shot in the winter is worse than getting shot in the summer?
No, I'm saying both, either the winter cold or getting shot at.
Oh, okay.
To be fair, you'd probably get shot at less in the winter than you would in the summer.
Probably, yeah.
So that's a benefit. One of the
Unless
big
you get
deals.
shot from inside the house.
Yeah, well, that's just the calls coming from inside the house.
Yeah, I don't think that it's definitely a blue collar job. It's something that a lot of people don't want to do.
Right.
Is do package delivery. I get it. There's a reason that the U.S. Post Office was always notorious for having a bunch of suicide gunmen running around.
Well, yeah, right? That they were going to actually just snap at some point.
Yeah, exactly. I get all that. But what we're ending up with is an inflation curve that is disproportionate based on the job that you work and the sort of socioeconomic class you're in. Because on the high end, like for example, let's go with the super high end, right? We'll start at the top and work down. Super high end at OpenAI, the average salary is $850,000, including benefits. See, I'm not going to forget your benefits.
Right, the bennies are big because people hear that and they think it's take home.
Yeah, they're at least $50,000 worth of benefits in there.
Yes.
But it's an $850,000 average salary,
which is
Think
nice.
About that. That's like $1 million every 15 months.
How do we do this? What job was this for?
This is CSB. This is how much CSB makes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Working at OpenAI. And then you go down to like Amazon. Amazon technical project managers out there, they make about $350,000 a year.
Yeah, my niece, who is just a couple of years out of college, works in HR for Amazon and makes way more money than you would believe.
Yeah. So, and then you go down to like here in Austin, a UT brand new grad with a degree in computer science, a developer, programmer, right? Their starting wage in Austin for most companies is going to be $160,000. So when you look at those jobs and you think $150,000 for delivery dude, that's probably in line, right?
Well, because the physical labor is something that is still essential because there is a lot of packages that have to be delivered due to the e-commerce being as big as it is.
Right. No, I get all that, but here's the problem: is that looking at those 3 examples or 4 examples of jobs that seem to be pretty well paid. I mean, it's sort of like starting wages are 6 figures. Like nobody makes less than 6 figures. But then there's a whole shit ton of people, probably a good 40% of the population never gets to 6-figure salaries.
We become
like
podcasters.
The jobs they work are, there's a handful of podcasters making $1 million out there.
True.
I mean, and I'm not even including Joe Rogan. I mean, like actual podcasters. Joe Rogan came with a lot of notoriety. He was a TV presenter for many years. He was a comedian.
Well, you sound so British when you call him a TV presenter.
Well, I don't know why you think that's British.
Because nobody else calls it a TV presenter.
Well, everybody at university called him TV presenter.
Everybody at university or when I was on holiday called it that. Yes, I get it.
Mm-hmm. So, consequently, sorry, I had to play into that. It seems like a lot, but it's not like for call centers or even just receptionists, they're still making $40,000-$45,000 a year. When there are literally people making 10 times as much as them, that disparity between what the Democrats love to call the working class or the working poor, and sort of the middle class Americans who are making 200, 300,000 a year, is getting bigger and bigger. Because it used to be that everybody made under 100,000 except for senior management.
Right.
Or investors or lawyers or, people that have made over six figures for a damn long time. But we kind of went from a country where the job rates varied from about $25,000 to about $100,000 with then exceptions above that, to a country now where the job rates, well, maybe not 20,000, but still 40,000. But that the top end just went sky high. It's literally pushing $1 million a year now.
Well, and the bottom got pushed up because of the minimum wage increases.
Yeah, but it hasn't matched inflation.
No, well, it's never going to.
I'm not for minimum wage by any stretch, but if you look at the actual value of a U.S. dollar today, using the same formulas that were used back in the 80s, what we have is roughly a 340% inflation over the last 40 years. So when we had a $20,000 car in 1990, that car is roughly the same as a $90,000 car today. Like, that dollar amount is worth the same.
Right.
So people making $40,000 today, well, they would have been making $12,000 in the 80s, except they weren't.
Well,
they
it's
were
a
making
similar
$20,000 in the 80s.
Well, it's similar to the whole Satoshi thing too, because people cannot process that in their heads. They can't figure out the inflation rate, and they can't figure out. They just see the overall number and think, well, that's more. Like, well, it's not, because everything else costs. You may be making 20% more than you were then, but everything else has gone up 40%. So that's a loss.
You recently had to replace an air conditioner, so you would know this, but most people would not know. What is the price of an air conditioner in 2023?
To have a new condenser put in, not a new furnace, just the condenser put in itself, installed, was $3,800.
Okay, well, you got a sweet deal, but the real price. So let's say your AC dies, and you want your guys come out and say, yeah, we're gonna, here's what we're gonna propose. We put in here. You were a little undersized before.
They always tell you that. My guy didn't, because he's actually a friend and legit and retired.
So we'll see in 5 years. But
no, it's working fine.
When you, he looked at your heart for some reason before he sold the unit to you.
Yeah, like you could
determine the price point.
No problem at all.
Let me just take a look at your EHRT here, and then we'll give you the price point.
I think it was the same exact size as the unit that was replaced that had been working fine for over a decade.
Yeah.
Until it wasn't.
Exactly. So anyway, but I'll tell you what it is, because I work with these guys all the time. It's about $30,000. If you want to get a new AC unit, you have to basically get a home equity loan.
That 30 grand, that's a little bit too high.
No, this is the average ticket price of a new air conditioning system for an existing home.
Well, what size home are we dealing with here?
Texas size home.
What is because that seems a little larger than what we've got going here then.
Actually, multiple. It's southern. Okay, not where you live in the middle of frozen tundra, but for people living on the southern states of the United States,
where it is a little warmer.
What has to keep in mind, like, my AC runs 24/7 without turning off for about 6 months. Now, most ACs that you would sell up north don't need to do that.
That's true.
So you can have lower life cycle units sold up north because you just don't need them. It'd be a waste to do that. And those are going to be cheaper. But if you're buying an AC down south, it's going to be about $30,000. Now, have there been plenty of people that have bought them for less? Of course.
it all depends on what you finally agree to. But if you go with the unit that the AC dude is telling you is the right fit for your house, and you buy something that'll last you at least 20 years, you're going to spend $30,000 on it. I remember when my parents bought an AC unit to replace the one they had back in the 80s, and it cost $3,000. So we're seeing prices that have gone up a lot more than the 300 and whatever percentage that the total inflation has been on select items. Like, I remember buying eggs not that long ago, even maybe 20 years ago, buying eggs for 39 cents, 49 cents for a carton of 12.
Hell, they were giving them away free at times.
Okay. Sure. I don't think I've ever gotten free eggs, but
really, your grocery store doesn't do that? Like, hey, you're a great customer. Here's a coupon, free dozen eggs.
Definitely not.
Wow, you're in the wrong place then.
Clearly.
But now,
I do remember buying them for 39 cents.
Well, that's not bad. This old house says you can buy a 5-ton unit for materials and installation between $1,900 and $4,200.
No.
It's what this old house says. Are you talking about
this old house might be a contractor that can buy stuff wholesale. I don't know.
It's a show. Don't you remember This Old House with Norm and the other guy? It was a great show on PBS. This Old House. You never watched This Old House?
I don't think so.
Oh, you got to check it out, man. It was always great.
No. Well, either way, I'm just telling you about southern states. Now, I've worked with multiple air conditioning companies in southern states, and I was shocked at how expensive these things were. And what it comes down to is to have air conditioning that will both provide the level of cooling that you want and the longevity that you need given the cycle rates or the run rates in southern states. Again, I'm not saying that up north you're going to spend that much, but down here, that's what it's going to, either that, or if you get something that's significantly cheaper, you're just going to replace it more frequently. So would you rather replace an air conditioner every 7 to 10 years for $10,000 or replace it once for $20,000 or $30,000? And the same thing with the how cool it can get your house. It's been over 110 degrees every single day in Austin here for months.
Well, I've got a place in San Antonio, Austin, Dallas, and Fort Worth that's on the high end, looks like about 5,000. Are you sure we're talking about these same types of units?
Well, I don't know. Air conditioning. What place have you got that's 5,000?
It is AtlasACRepair.com. Now, they do a heat pump whole system is about $7,500.
Nobody here does heat pumps unless they're retarded.
Well, yeah, because it's not going to cool your house enough.
No.
But soon that's going to be the federal law. You wait and see. That's going to be the new federal law. Be like, well, no, you can't have a condenser unit. Those are way too hard on the environment that we're trying to save.
Yep. Yeah, it's I mean, yeah, they've got prices listed, but I guarantee you when they get to your house, dude, the quote they're going to give you is a lot more than this.
Now, I do see here how much is a higher efficiency AC system, and if you have a 5-ton high efficiency, that they go up to about 18,000, which you're getting more in that range then.
Well, that, and then I think the price you're looking at, that the $5,000 is, it's the unit cost. So double that with installation. And these are probably still undersized and cheap units.
You might need 4 or 5 of them for one house. Just try to keep yourself cool.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know. All I know is here's how I know pricing. I looked at the books. I looked at the financials of these companies.
So I
know how much they're making from air conditioners. And it comes out to about $30,000 for a new install. Now, obviously, they don't make that on service calls. They don't make it if they just come in and do a coil replacement.
Now, is
all
this
those are going to be less.
doing a lot of work in the house, or is this a replacement, or is, because there's also going to be costs if it's a brand new install.
Mm-hmm.
Because although I guess it's rare at this point to find homes.
House. It's a new install in an old house.
Gotcha. So, I mean, there should be ducts and all that ready run through the house, not. Although I can see if it's in a really old house, if they never had any duct work put in.
Yeah.
I mean, we look at people like our buddy Bemrose up in the upper great, northwest of the United States, uses a gas, not a gas stove, a wood stove in the house to heat up the place. So,
oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. It's like living off the grid, man.
Huh.
He has to come in and put firewood in and light it up if you want to be warm in the winter.
Yeah, I mean, like even from looking at this Atlas site, you look at it, it's like it's $164 per vent. You have 15 vents in the house. That's $2,500.
Yeah, that would all add up if you're doing any kind of work inside the house.
Runs, yeah, duct run cost. That's another $3,500. I mean, all this shit starts to add on.
You're like, you may as well just move someplace cooler. It seems way easier.
Yeah. Oh, and then, okay, so here we go. High efficiency AC system there. That's more like it. So $17,000.
I already said that.
Yeah. So 17, well, there you go. 17 plus labor. About 30 grand.
That is insane. Really.
It's a lot. It is a lot of money. And if you go with a a better known brand like a Bosch or something, or a higher quality brand, I should say, then all of the prices obviously go up as well. So now, having said that, the reason I brought it up obviously is as an example of stuff that's gotten ridiculously expensive. Like the AC costs as much as a car. I don't remember an air conditioner ever costing as much as a car 20, 30, 40 years ago. Like those were not comparable priced
right.
items.
You would have
Unless you're talking about a Yugo.
Yes, you would have not thought like someday air conditioners are going to cost this.
Right. And I don't mean like an old car. I mean like you could buy a perfectly drivable Toyota, I don't know, not a Camry, but whatever the cheaper one of that is than the Camry for 30 grand still. I'm pretty sure they still make those. Corolla or something.
Yeah, I think so.
Or a Honda, whatever their thing that's cheaper than the Accord is.
The Civic?
Is it? Maybe, yeah. I bet you a Civic's 30 grand or less still. I haven't looked at those in a long time, but probably, I would guess.
No, I haven't looked at new cars in a long time. We drive them until they die.
Mm-hmm.
It's a much better way to go with the current pricing and everything. And I saw a guy do a breakdown the other day on why there are no small pickup trucks anymore, and it's all because of the EPA and their fucking standards.
Small pickup trucks. What are you talking about?
Very few small pickup trucks on the road.
There are two of them.
There's two. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's two of them. You mean models?
Well,
there's two of them. There's two on the road.
And I actually like the Ford one. I think it's super cute. I forget what it's called. It's like the Ford. It's smaller than the Ranger. Ranger is now like a full size truck, or I guess they're not still technically called full size. I don't know. But if you look at the size of the current Ranger, its dimensions, its length, width, and height are about the same as an F-150 was 20 years ago.
Right.
And back then, of course, the Ranger was way smaller. But now they've got another one that is super cute. Looks like the old Ranger. I seriously am thinking of picking one of those up because I've always liked small trucks. Like, to me, that's a pretty good utilitarian vehicle.
Well, it's good to have down there in Texas. You can throw
anywhere.
You can throw some stuff in the back.
I just like having something that you can put things into without worrying about, can you open up your hatchback enough to fit the thing in?
But all of these, just looking at the Ford site, I mean, do you not remember like the little Toyota pickup trucks we had in the 80s that were, I mean, these are far and
they've
wide,
all grown too. They've all gotten way bigger.
Right. Well, this is it. Because of the EPA standards for fuel mileage that they basically screwed the small trucks, even though it makes no sense because the small trucks would actually use, those
the Maverick.
those
There you go.
those trucks back in the 80s were little, 4-cylinder, little mini things, not what you have today.
Yeah, the Maverick. That's the one. Like, I could totally see getting one of those because it's small. It fits in parking spaces. That's the other thing. You drive an F-150 or whatever brand of truck, the full size ones right now. I mean, like the 1500 or the 150s, not the 25 or 35s. They're barely parkable.
Oh, I know. They barely fit in the spaces.
Like, you better hope there's no other truck parked next to you. Okay, so the Maverick starts at 23,000 for the basic version, but then it goes up to 35,000 pretty quickly.
Wait, you want tires on it? Oh, yeah, that's going to be an extra charge.
No, you could end up with a small truck that's 40 grand without trying too much.
Those floor mats are very expensive, Gene.
Yeah, no, I think those come with it. Actually, it does include the floor mats, but I don't know. It's whatever you want to throw in the back. It's nice and practical to have a truck bed in the back.
Fly the Russian flag
in the truck.
Like the one in Texas, they like to have the big Texas flags, don't they?
Yeah.
The back window or something.
Yeah, you probably do that. Ooh, the orange. I like the orange color in this thing. The hot pepper red is what it's called.
We do have 2 boostergrams from CSB who came in with 8015 twice. The first one was before the show, and he just said, please visit www.csb.lol Koramak. And then,
see, I think that's a better domain for him than his old one.
Well, the other one was
the
for,
LOL one.
Yeah, well, that was for a show that doesn't exist now.
I know, but the this is a better domain overall.
Now, the one that he just sent during the show, he said he sent it through podcastindex.org. He's testing that to see if that works.
Oh, let's see if anything showed up on my end.
And he still just wants people to visit www.csb.lol. And then he keeps having that Polish.
I haven't gotten anything from that, so there you go.
Interesting. So it's always failing. It doesn't matter whether it was from Fountain or from Podcast Index. It's a different, although are the funds in Podcast Index? That's no Fountain. Are they all pulling the funds from Albie? They may be.
I don't know.
It's interesting. When some things work and some things don't.
Hold on, I might have gotten it.
8015, so you should have got...
Yes, I got 4,000.
Oh, finally!
There we go. We fixed it.
You finally got a CSB boost. The funds are flowing.
Nice. Exactly. Get some of that Polish money coming in here.
Yeah, well, Korwamak, right back to you, CSB.
Hey, I don't know if you saw, there was a little video that I posted on No Agenda Social that talked about Poland becoming the new financial powerhouse in Europe.
Well, that's why we all have to get there. And the Polish women are beautiful.
Yeah, if you like blondes.
Yes.
Okay.
Anonymous boosted 333. Thank you.
I like them redheads myself. But
well, then you want to get to Ireland.
Scotland.
Ooh.
More redheads than Ireland.
Yeah, but Scotch is not as good as Irish whiskey, and I know 90% of the world will disagree with me.
Are you kidding me?
I know. That's exactly what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I've tried them.
I like, give me some of that Islay whiskey.
Although I don't drink anything now due to the,
I don't either, which is funny because we got 2 guys that don't drink anymore talking about whiskey.
Maybe I guess the reality is we can enjoy up to the point of swallowing it. So it's kind of like the I didn't inhale Bill Clinton thing. I guess we could still take the whiskey, swish it around in the mouth, and then just spit it on out.
Yeah, I don't think I would enjoy that.
Seems like a waste.
Well, it seems like a waste, and frankly, I don't really want that whiskey in my mouth because some of it will get absorbed right through the mouth as well.
That's true. And you might get mouth cancer.
Well, you might get mouth cancer without the whiskey, too.
Ah, that's true.
Depends on how much ass you're eating.
Well,
wait, what?
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 There, I thought I already had a cold opener for the show. You're not going to be able to beat that one. I'm sorry.
Notate the time.
Yep.
Timestamp.
Yep. I hit M. That's it. All you got to do. You pull up the audition page that's currently rolling all the recordings, and you just hit M, and it makes a little line there, and it just,
there you go.
it's perfect because it's still there after you render it down to the stereo file that it turns into.
Mm-hmm.
But
this is interesting. The only truck that you can get without a full size 4 doors is the Ranger. You could still get the Ranger with the little half door in the back.
Is it still a gas powered or is it electric? Because electric now has different standards from the EPA.
Yeah. So the little truck, not the Ranger, the Maverick, that you can get an electric as well.
Because that's what they're pushing. They want you to be electric. And then when the grid goes down, as it has in Austin before, then everybody's like, well, what do I do?
It goes down here like ridiculously.
And the heat wave, man, I hear the heat there is just insane right now.
That's like 180 degrees here.
Have you ever had this kind of heat before, Gene? We need boots on the ground.
I have had heat like this in the past, yes.
No. Wait. But you were supposed to say, no, it's never been like this.
Oh, no.
It's global warming, obviously.
In 2011, so 12 years ago, it was almost identical. We had over 100 days in a row of over 100 degree heat. And I think this year is very comparable. And the worst part of it isn't even the heat itself. I mean, the heat's not great, but the worst part of it is it doesn't rain that entire time. So my grass is totally brown. Just in general, Austin, which typically keeps green grass, unlike Dallas. Dallas, like you expect brown grass every year, no matter what. But here in Austin, it's a little more wet, so there's a little more greenery here. But this year, there's like nothing. The last rain we had, I think, was in May.
And when everything dries out, then there is a fire risk.
Yes, absolutely. There is definitely a fire risk, which is interesting because the fires in Hawaii don't make any freaking sense to me because
you're like, there's a lot of moisture
as shit. I've been to that little village that burned down. I've literally been there, and it's moist there. It's humid. There's a fog every morning. I don't understand how the hell Hawaii got so dry that a fire could get out of control.
Arson? Maybe.
I mean, yeah, but still, if it's like you're not going to have fire,
true, you could start
that gets out of control in a rainforest.
Well, I was intrigued because No Agenda did start yesterday with Adam playing clips from, I believe it was 2016 and 2018 with huge fires in Hawaii.
Probably from lava.
I don't remember if that was or if it just now if there is a lava fire and you have a hurricane nearby, then the winds can definitely blow some stuff around.
Sure.
But this is also not the first time there have been fires in Hawaii. And as you're saying, with the heat temperature, that the heat or the temperatures in Texas,
or both,
if anybody would care to go back and look at the records, because I mean, I think they kept records on these things, you would be able to tell instantaneously that this is not such a new thing. Like, oh my God, this is the first time. It's like, no, it's not.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go back into the 1800s where they had records on stuff and it's like, it's deadly hot. And they pretend like, no, this is new. But they also never want to talk about the activity of the sun. It's hilarious. Because I will listen to any argument you have about why the planet is getting warmer or colder. But if you're totally discounting what's happening with the sun, I will just walk away because you're not being honest or you're just too stupid to understand how the whole system works. Because it has a very big effect. But nobody ever talks about that on the left. It's never like, well, this could be the sun is closer right now than it has been for years, or there's more sun activity, or nope. All those people, those are the ones I like to take a nice 300-watt halogen light bulb, turn it on, then take their face and keep moving it closer. And like, do you feel something?
Mm-hmm.
And when they scream, you're like, well, that's the sun.
So your argument is the Earth gets closer to the sun and therefore it gets hotter?
Well, at times. And the sun has a higher activity. If you dim that bulb, it gets a little bit cooler. But if you turn it all the way up, it gets warmer.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not saying that's 100% of it, but I think I was going to say everybody knows, but I don't think that's the case. I think most people understand if the sun were to extinguish itself today, we'd all be very cold very quickly.
We'd all be dead very quickly.
Uh-huh. Well, you'd be very cold and then you'd be dead.
Very quickly.
Yes. It's like this is not a small part of what warms the earth, the sun, this thing, this ball in the sky.
It's, in fact, the only thing that warms the earth.
Uh-huh. Now, the earth may be able to retain a little bit more of that heat, but yes, that's where the heat's coming from.
Yeah, the earth does not have very good insulation. And so the retention of heat, there is some, it's pretty crappy. And so we're constantly having to run the furnace to stay warm.
See, Brooklyn points out it takes 7 minutes for the light to go from the sun to the earth. So I guess if it goes out, we have 7 minutes to party. And then it's over. But we won't even know. So that's the beauty.
That's right. You won't know because the amount of time it takes for that signal to come through is ironically no faster than the amount of time it takes for the light to get here.
Right. You might get a quarter of a second like, uh-oh. And then everything
I'm pretty
goes
sure
dark.
the light itself is actually a little faster than the signal.
Oh, well, okay. So you will get the lights will go out and then you'll get the message.
Yeah.
That they'll just say you're fine.
So Russia launched a mission to the moon yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah.
I can't understand this. It seems like the economy in Russia's doing okay. People are out. They're buying things. Their malls are packed. Mm-hmm. Everything is good. These sanctions don't seem to be doing anything.
No, I posted a video from Russia this morning that said that sanctions aren't doing anything.
I was just playing into that.
Oh, okay. Good. Yeah. So, but yeah, there was a flight out. It was a spacecraft that's going to land on the moon. And it's got a little laboratory on it to do some testing and things out there. It is actually the first space mission to the moon that Russia has set up ever since the Americans faked the moon landing.
Well, then the Russians will be able to tell if we were there or not.
Well, they're not going to the same place that we allegedly were.
Different part of the moon?
Yeah, they're going to the I think it's the northern pole.
They're always worried about the poles, those Russians. I don't get it.
I know, you got to watch the poles, man. But yeah, they're going to be so this is the first mission that is supposed to determine the best site for the base.
They're going to build a whole moon base is the plan.
That's the plan, and be able to then have readily available water, which is why you go to the pole. And once you have water available, you got everything available because water is fuel.
It is life.
Well, more importantly, it's fuel. Because I don't think anyone wants moon life, but moon fuel would be pretty handy. And then they can actually start mining helium-3 on the moon and then bringing it back to Earth.
What is helium-3?
So it's a very abundant thing on the moon, but not on Earth, and used for energy.
I mean, will it be helpful with electric cars or saving the planet?
Well, it's for sure, saving the planet. Why not? But it's basically it could be used for fusion, and fusion is the future of energy, obviously. So having a readily available source of helium-3 for fusion reactors is going to mean that there's, I hate to use the word cheap because we know it ain't going to be cheap. Nothing's ever cheap. But cheap in terms of raw resources, it's a very cheap form of energy.
So Russia will have a leg up.
Well, no, China's already got a base on the moon.
Oh, well, okay then.
Yeah.
Are they going to fight on who gets to get the most helium-3 out of there?
I think the Russian one is going to the opposite side as the Chinese one. So
are they going to build a pipeline maybe back to the Earth?
Between the two.
Yeah, maybe. Or just back to the Earth then. That'd be good too. It'd be like the space elevator concept. Can't we just have a big tether from the moon to the Earth?
You could. Yeah.
It'd be interesting.
I mean, it would have to be to a tether from the moon to a, like, not really the Earth ground. You could have a tether dropping down toward the Earth, but because the Earth itself rotates,
right,
every 24 hours, if you had a tether between the Earth and the moon, it'd be a yo-yo effect.
That'd be awesome.
You would you would like pull the moon back and then throw it further away and then pull it back in.
That could work.
And remember, the Earth and the moon both spin around each other.
No, the Earth is flat, I thought.
Yeah, well, the flat Earth is spinning around the round moon.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Now, this is where we explain science so anybody can understand it.
Yeah, this is totally how. Yo-yos and pizza pies.
Yeah.
Oh, that's how we explain things.
See, now pizza pies, everybody's like, now I understand.
Exactly.
Wait, but they're like, is it thin crust or is it stuffed or deep dish? What do we got going?
Well, Chicago style, right?
Yeah, which is the deep dish overall, but the thin crust is better. You sent me a video of somebody that was like, yeah, thin crust, totally better.
I did. Yeah, I thought you'd like that.
And I don't mind a good deep dish or stuffed pizza every now and then, but for the day-to-day pizza, it's hard to beat the thin crust. And they aren't day-to-day anymore because...
Yeah, I was going to say, check with your heart before you do the day-to-day pizza.
Yeah, you don't want to do that. Well, and it is cost prohibitive now if you're buying from pizza places because they're... I don't know what they're thinking, except that they want more money.
Well, yeah.
But they're getting out of control. And pizza is, and I have a buddy that runs a pizza joint, and he's like, pizza's like the cheapest thing in the world to make. He's like, these big pizzas are like $5, the ingredients on them. Yeah. So when they're selling them for like $35, $40, it's like you're just getting a little bit greedy. But I am considering, I mean,
I don't know, man. A deep dish pizza has more than $5 of ingredients.
Well, yeah, deep dish. You totally.
A regular, like,
I'm talking thin crust.
Skinny pizza, yeah. Thin crust probably is about $5.
I mean, I like my favorite style is still the Neapolitan, and I would love to get one of these. It seems like there's a few different choices now for ovens that you can get for home use. Some are outside, but there are a couple now they've made that are inside ovens that get up to maybe 800-900 degrees, which for a home oven's pretty damn hot.
Yeah, so it's damn hot.
And you can make your pizza in a couple of minutes on a wood stone.
Yeah, totally.
And that's a much healthier way to go.
As much as and I those are great. Like I've eaten pizza in Rome that was made in a stone oven like that.
The Roma. The oven's probably 500 years old.
Maybe, but it definitely doesn't go in there for very long.
No, you have to spin it like every 30 seconds, otherwise it's going to burn.
But yeah, it's in there just for a few minutes. But honestly, I think that the best invention that we've ever come up with for the food industry is the automated pizza ovens with the keep thinking escalator. It's not an escalator, it's a conveyor belt. That's what it is.
Oh, it's like the ones that you have in the restaurants.
All the fast food pizza places use them.
Right.
I remember when those first hit the scene, it was like a freaking miracle because what we used to do in the old days.
For you, you're like, wow, pizza comes right out cooked.
I've worked pizza a number of times. And I've worked for all the big pizza companies in the past. And you used to burn your arms like, the what is that part of your arm called? Like the
your forearm?
Yeah, I guess it'd be the forearm. Yeah.
When you're pulling it out of the extra hot oven.
Exactly right. When you're not like 7 feet tall and you're trying to pull a pizza out of there,
you have to really reach in. That's why you
have
give
to
the long
reach
pole
over your head, and you've got the long pole, and you reach, and burns are inevitable. You always end up getting burned in those stupid things because you can't just have an oven that's at like eye level with that's it. You have to have multiple layers of the ovens because
you need
they're flat,
right.
So you can fit multiple ones in there. But when they came out with that conveyor belt, and you can tweak it, you can set it on the perfect temperature, and then you can adjust the speed of the belt to determine how much like how crispy of a crust you can get, and it works awesome. Love those things. They're not cheap, but man, if you don't have like a conveyor belt pizza oven in your house, you don't know what you're missing.
Well, how many do you have? I mean, you probably have a backup then.
Backup pizza oven.
Uh-huh.
No, man, I'm trying to lose weight. I don't do the pizza anymore.
Wow, that's depressing.
Mm-hmm.
But you know what's really good? Have you ever tried, and I am a pizza snob, and I am not a fan of most frozen pizzas. They're mostly garbage.
Yep.
The home run in frozen pizzas are really good. If you have them available out there. And I just looked it up to see what they're still going for because they were always fairly cheap. Now at our local grocery store, still $7 a piece, $6.99.
Well, let me check the HEBs and see if they got them here.
It's a different kind of a crust. It's a very buttery crust. Home run in.
Oh yeah, they have Chicago's Home Run Premium Pizzeria, $10.
Yeah. So ours are $7 here, but I mean they have to ship it all the way to Texas, so that makes sense. Try one of those if you get a chance. The straight out sausage pizza, it's delightful.
Sausage.
You got to get a little home run in sausage pizza.
Yeah, I can get a personal one for $4.14.
Ooh, that's a bargain. The personal ones here are like $4.19, so that's about the same. They're just ganking you on the larger ones.
Yeah, it looks like the largers are actually more expensive than the personal ones. I mean, per ounce.
Yes. It looks like $8.59 is retail, $6.99 on sale here.
Oh, really? Yeah, $9.34 for the large ones. 32-ouncer meat lovers.
But it
comes
comes
for meat
out,
lovers, that'd be all right. For pepperoni, $9.34. That's kind of ridiculously priced.
It is a little expensive for that. But I mean, it's better than any of the other frozen pizzas.
Do you like the pepperoni?
I do.
I don't.
It's not something you want every day.
Yeah, it's the wrong kind of spice. I don't want that.
I don't mind the spice, but it can be a little greasy.
Oh, it's definitely greasy, yeah. But sausage is also greasy, but sausage I like.
Now you put sausage and pepperoni on, you let them fight it out.
No, you just don't put the pepperoni. Whenever I've gotten pizza, like takeout or whatever, I've always, like, I would get a meat lovers and I would take off have them.
I was going to say, you could just order it that way. You don't have to order extra pepperoni and then take it off.
No, right? No, I do. I generally will substitute Canadian bacon for the pepperoni.
That's not bad. I've really, with the local place here, they have the option to do black olives and feta. I think we've talked about that before. That is a great combination. If you want it to be a little more filling, add some grilled chicken to it, and it's a delightful pizza. But try that, and it's perfect. It's the perfect frozen pizza.
Just for you, I'll try it, but I may end up getting a heart attack or something.
Well, again, it's half of one, 6 of the other, whatever they say.
That's no difference. Exactly. We all got to go at some point, right?
Yeah, you may as well be happy doing it.
So, are you still drinking lemons?
I have not recently. I should.
I need to restart. I haven't either, and I just watched a video that reminded me, and they have a slight twist on the lemon recipe.
Ooh, what do they tell you to do now?
So you start. It's the same basic start as what we've been doing. Is you take whole lemons, you blenderize them.
You take the lemon. You want to put it in a little hot water or something first to get the plastic off the outside, the wax off.
I prefer the plastic myself.
Really, you keep the wax in? It has a weird. It has a very weird mouthfeel with the wax.
Gives it a more of a thicker flavor.
But it's wax and it
It's
doesn't taste
emulsified wax.
good. Yeah, I know it's emulsified wax, but I prefer
And
to
it's-
wax off. If you prefer wax
Okay,
on,
well,
that's
you-
fine.
You like wax off?
Yeah.
You can wax off all you want.
Wax
if,
off
if
all
you like
day
the
long.
waxing off.
Yeah.
I mean, that's your prerogative, I
Yeah.
guess.
Definitely.
The wife mind at all, or
No, not at all.
okay? Well, that's good. I'll just wax on myself, but so the twist is the following. There's a few more ingredients. First of all, chuck a clove of garlic in there.
Ooh.
Garlic has a shit ton of antibacterial properties, and they recommend chucking a clove of garlic in there.
That's interesting. I have
well-
some garlic pills. So, I mean, I know that's supposed to be great for heart
It's
health.
funny, I take those myself, in fact, but fresh garlic's good. And then put a little splash of apple cider vinegar in there. Now you're saying it's already kind of sour. Why would you put the vinegar in there? Well,
What's a different
in
kind of
particular,
sour?
apple cider vinegar. Yeah, it has some really good immune supportive functions in there. And then a dash. So you chuck a clove, and then you add a splash of the vinegar, and you put a dash of cayenne pepper in there.
A dash. Okay.
A dash of cayenne pepper.
Can I use cayenne powder? I've got a lot of cayenne powder.
Well, yeah, pepper powder. Yeah, cayenne pepper powder. So a dash of it. And then you have something that has all the benefits of the lemon plus a few additional things, and it still mostly tastes like lemon. I've only done this once. I've only tried this recipe once, but I think I'm going to try doing this on a regular basis.
I'm interested. Is the ginger, lemon ginger, that seems like it might actually go well together.
Well, and I think the garlic will go pretty well in there as well.
I'm sorry, I said ginger. I meant garlic. Yes.
Yeah. I mean, lemon ginger is a flavor that a lot of people like. You're welcome to put ginger in there. I don't know that it's going to do a whole lot for you health wise, but gingers taste good.
You're just right. You're looking for something that it doesn't taste horrible.
Yeah. I mean, it's anti-parasitic. I guess if you feel you might have parasites, ginger's always good.
It's always possible.
Yeah. I mean, I guess you just have to check whether or not you're married for that one. But,
we are not professional dietitians. This is not health advice.
This is cooking. We're allowed to do cooking talk show thing.
Yeah, this is the best cooking show anybody's ever heard.
That's right. So that's it. That's the ingredients. Lemon, garlic, a little bit of apple cider, a little bit of cayenne pepper in a blender with either a little bit of ice or a little bit of water. Your choice.
Are you picky about your lemons? Do they have to be organic? You don't care?
I like the small lemons myself. I feel like the small lemons have thinner skin.
Which
know
would
what I'm
probably
talking
give
about.
you, right.
They're the smaller ones, they're like maybe 2 inches in diameter. The bigger ones are like 3.5.
And that's true, because the more rind you're going to get, the more you're going to be moving away from the liquid.
Yeah. Well, the rind is good. I mean, ultimately,
where
the best
the
part of the lemon is
antioxidants
actually
are.
the skin.
Yeah.
Like, if you could just eat lemon skin
Ew.
without the rind or lemon inside, that's probably all you need.
It's all you need for a healthy colon, kids.
Yeah, because that's where all of the oils are. And in fact, an awful lot of the vitamin C is in the skin as well. People think it's in lemon.
I need to get the blender back out, get that thing rocking.
Get it blending away. And the only thing I would tell people, and you will, I'm sure will agree with this on this recipe, is you can't batch make this stuff because
No.
it oxidizes very quickly. So you literally have to make it and instantly drink it. If you leave it in the fridge for an hour, it'll taste way worse.
Make it, drink it.
Yeah.
Put a little bit of honey in there if you really think it's too sour, but I don't
Yeah,
usually
I mean,
don't.
honey is, look, if you're not trying to be super careful about calories, absolutely put honey in there, because honey is also really good. It's antifungal.
And it's all natural. You
And
just
remember,
pop
this
that
is a
in.
cooking show, not a
Right.
medical show.
Right. And you can just have that as a delightful summer beverage,
Mm-hmm.
which probably be good. I was doing that when I had the blender hooked up in the kitchen here for for riding the bike. I'd go, I would make that. Now I'm just taking one of the Nun, N-U-U-N is the brand. They make the little tablets that are electrolytes, so I just pop one of those in a water bottle.
Have you tried, what's it called? It's,
is it bigger than a bread box?
It's bigger than a bread box. No, it's smaller than a bread box. It's, God damn, what was that movie? Soylent. Have you tried Soylent?
No, I have not tried the Soylent Green. I hear it's people. Spoilers.
Okay, so try the vanilla Soylent. It's actually pretty good.
Yummy.
I would recommend it. Soylent has 100% of all the daily nutrients that a human needs, along with all the calories and everything else, because it's made of people. So it has everything that you need all in one drink.
Right, because it is people.
Because it is people. And so, but the vanilla one in particular, I think tastes better. The chocolate, not so good. And then the strawberry, not so good. But the vanilla Soylent is worth it. I did that for about a month. I lived on nothing but Soylent.
Everybody's got to do what they got to do.
Well, I'm just saying. I mean, if you're like riding your bike thing, the Soylent thing makes total sense.
Well, you always could use a little extra people in your life.
Well, who couldn't?
Exactly.
Right.
We just got a big boost from the one and only Clip Custodian, who sent in a row of ducks, 22,222 Satoshis during the Soylent part of the show. What kind of a sicko are you, Clip Custodian?
People like the cooking aspect of our show.
No doubt about it.
We ought to do a show called Cooking something.
Yes, Cooking.ai.
Oh, is that available? Yeah, we should snap it up.
Well, I'm sure because AI.cooking was the other show. We could do the opposite.
Cooking.ai is probably available, yeah.
Could be. Cooking with AI. You can do everything with AI.
You could, in fact.
The Clip Custodian says he was digging the recipes. There you go.
Oh, see? There you go. We ought to do more cooking stuff.
And as mentioned the last time we talked about the lemons, a lot of people, when they hear take a whole lemon, put it in a blender, including the skin and rind, they're like, what? Yeah. But it doesn't come out horrible. It actually comes out really good. I was surprised the first time as well. But you need like the Super Duper Vitamix or that level of blender. You don't want to put this in your old 50s blender.
No, the way that it should be blended with the multi-horsepower blenders like the Vitamix is to a consistency of a shake. You should not have little chunks of lemon in there. If you have chunks of lemon after blending it for 30 seconds, then you need a different blender.
You want to be as liquid as you can get.
Yeah, it should be absolutely liquefied.
And then I found, I mean, I don't think you do this usually, but I found that then putting in ice cubes until it's the consistency of like a slushy also worked really well.
Yeah, so I was generally just using cold water in there. Like I usually keep a thing of distilled water in the fridge. So I just put some of that in there, but you could use ice cubes if you wanted to, sure.
Get you a nice slushy. And if you don't like the texture because of the rind and because of the skin, the ice actually kind of hides that even more.
Well, it desensitizes your mouth. This is one of those things that a lot of foodie people are very careful about, is the temperature of the food. It affects the ability of your mouth to taste as many of the flavors. So if things are too hot or too cold, you're going to miss a lot of the salty.
So you have to be careful.
Your ideal temperature for eating things is 100 degrees Fahrenheit.
But now if you're drinking something, this is why people put whiskey, that people that aren't whiskey drinkers, if you have a strong like bourbon or something, they put a lot of ice in it because it's like, oh, well, that makes it better. It's like, no, it's just, you're not tasting it.
Exactly. Yeah. If you're drinking expensive whiskey, please don't put anything in there. If you have somebody that insists it tastes better with water, it's literally one drop of water.
Yes. Yeah, that's exactly. Which is weird because I've done tests on this back when I drank, and it doesn't seem like it should make any sense. It's probably more of a psychological thing. But if you're putting any water in that shot of whiskey, absolutely right. It's one drop, literally, not more
literal,
so.
One drop from a stopper. Yeah.
And it's just enough allegedly to break up the molecules, to open it up a little bit, whatever is allegedly happening.
Well, and there is exactly that. It's chemistry is happening, because what happens when you put the water in is that water propagates to areas of more that have a higher concentration of things other than the water. Basically, it's the way that osmosis works, right? Is that if you have salty water on one side and unsalty water on the other side of a membrane, osmotic membrane, then it will pull the water from the freshwater side to the saltwater side, because water will always move towards where the largest concentration of other chemicals are, whether salt or anything else. So when you do that with alcohol, what you're doing is you're exciting the liquid in the glass, because that water drop will start propagating at a relatively fast pace throughout that entire glass. And it's actually moving all the molecules around. And it is changing with very little water. It is changing the taste very quickly. And this is something that I think people have to experience to really understand, because you're absolutely right. It doesn't look like one drop should change the flavor of something.
Right. But
how many drops are there in a shot glass? 2 ounces is probably thousands and thousands of drops of something.
It's at least hundreds.
I would bet it's thousands. I don't know how many drops per teaspoon do you think there is? I'd say probably at least 100, maybe 200.
Because a normal shot glass is what, 1.5 ounces?
Yeah.
I would say, a drop. I don't know. I would think it's like 1/100th of that or something like that. Maybe, it depends on what your dropper is handling, I suppose. Let's see, how many drops in an ounce?
How many drops in a drop?
Like convert drop to fluid ounces. Hey, well, okay.
0.05 milliliters. Usually about 20 drops per milliliter.
So it is 591 drops allegedly per fluid ounce.
Really? It seems like it'd be way more than that.
No, see, you have a problem with spatial relationships.
Clearly.
But it's interesting. This is again, it's like, where else are you going to hear this kind of scintillating conversation?
I know, right? Talking about drops of water.
Like how many drops? So, I mean, in 1.5 ounces, if that's your average shot glass, which I think it is, that would be 887. So, get closing in on 1,000 drops.
20 drops per milliliter is what they're saying seems to be the standard.
But if you think about that, if it's one shot of whiskey and you put one drop in, it's about 1/1000th of the glass. But it's enough. It's enough to change that profile.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I think you're right. Your 500 whatever number was correct. That is crazy. Drops are bigger than I thought they were.
Yeah. Well, it depends on what your dropper is, I would guess, as well.
Yeah. I mean, I'm thinking standard dropper, but there's multiple sources saying that there's 20 drops per milliliter.
The more you learn.
So, yeah, that's interesting stats, but it definitely, I guess maybe 1/500th all of a sudden doesn't seem like it's all that weird.
No. Nope, not at all.
Uh-huh. Well, there you go. It changes the flavor.
If anybody has any other good ideas on what to put into the lemon mix.
Sounds like people are going to say whiskey at this point.
Right, it could be. Like, hey, if you really want to forget that you're drinking a lemon, put a lot of whiskey in.
And lemon, when it's blended in whole, does not taste like lemon juice.
Correct.
Because I think you were afraid of that when I first told you about this.
Right, recipe. It would be like, this is going to be horrible.
Like, well, I'm going to drink straight lemon juice from a lemon? You're insane. But it does not taste like that at all, because when you blend the whole thing with the skin, it's a much more mild flavor.
And it's a different texture than what you would get with lemon juice. It does have more of that shake vibe, as you've said.
Yep.
And if you put a little extra, in there, you get, if you don't like the straight lemon juice, but it is not horrendous. And of course, cooling it down, a little bit of ice can help you there.
Yeah. Or leave the wax on if you want it thicker.
And you can also just go, there is this thing that back in the 80s were really popular called smoothies. I'm thinking they still make them today.
I think so.
But
At
throw
least on the West Coast.
Right, throw a strawberry or two in, whatever you want, and it will. Now, granted, you're going to start sugaring up your.
Yeah, strawberry. I wouldn't put a strawberry in. That's not.
You're anti-strawberry?
Yeah. Strawberry is one of the most useless things out there.
You want some goji berries or some blackberries? What do you want? Something with a high antioxidant?
Those are both better.
Uh-huh.
But yeah, the strawberry is just worthless.
Cherries, maybe some nice Michigan cherries.
I mean, if you're trying to increase your tolerance
glycemic
of cyanide, then sure.
Well, yeah, who isn't?
I know, right? Well, some of us are already done with that routine.
If you're always afraid that somebody might be poisoning you, just do it yourself.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It doesn't take long. It's like 6 months.
To get your tolerance up?
Yep. Totally.
This is something you've researched before, I'm guessing.
Maybe.
If you have any health tips, just reach out to us here at the Unrelenting Show.
Yeah, we don't do health tips, but we do food recipes.
If we do food recipes, right, unrelenting.show. If you would like to support the show and be more like Dale in Australia, go to unrelenting.show.
Be more like Dale.
There is a PayPal button right there. I don't know if I ever put crypto or anything like that, because then the whole splitting thing is
too complicated for you. Yeah, I know.
It's PayPal, or
PayPal's barely not complicated for you.
Podcasting 2.0. And hey, as we said last time, somebody needs a bit where all you can do is create a PayPal account that automatically just gets split to two people. Why don't they do that?
Exactly.
That would make life so much easier.
Wait, I think Venmo allows you to do that.
Do they? Because I believe
Venmo lets you put in 2 different email addresses.
Because if there's somebody that does that, that's what we should be using on everything. But
Venmo's for the kids, so we're not allowed to use it.
We're not hip enough.
We're not hip enough. No.
No. You doing anything exciting this weekend while it's 140 degrees out in Texas?
What am I doing this weekend? I really need to get my oil changed in my car.
Wow. I mean, that sounds like scintillating activities.
I know, right? So exciting.
You're not going to watch Elon blow any rockets up into the sky or anything?
No, they just did a test just recently of the water deluge system. That went well, seemingly. There's tons and tons of water vapor. That was good.
How many positive flights does Elon need to have before you would take a seat on the rocket?
Which, the new one?
Yeah, whichever. I'm assuming that's where his is going to wind up at some point, where people will be able to take rides on him.
Yeah. Well, like to the moon. That's already been sold. There's already one that I like. There's people that I watch that are going into the moon now.
Wow. Would you go to the moon with Elon?
I don't know. I would go to Mars. I'm not sure about the moon.
Well, Mars would be a one-way trip.
Yeah, that's why I would go.
And you're like, this is why I'm fine with it.
Yeah.
Gene's like, is anybody going to try to stop me? Anybody? Like, see you later, Gene.
Uh-huh.
Can we still podcast from Mars? What's the latency like?
Oh, totally. We could still do a podcast because, we couldn't do a live stream, but we could do a podcast for sure.
Right. It would be, you would say something, I would get the message, respond, and there would be 5 minutes between each little segment.
I'm trying to remember what the latency on that is. I think it's more than that. I thought it was more like 10 minutes, but maybe I'm wrong.
That would definitely add a lot of advertising space in the show. Between every message. You're looking this up. Latency between Mars and Earth. How long does it take?
How long?
Let's see if it says here. NASA Mars. It generally takes about 5 to 20 minutes for a radio signal to
Okay, so I was right.
It's like, oh yeah, like depending on planet position. So that makes sense. All this spinning and moving, 5 to 20 minutes. We would have to try to get the podcast in when it was at the 5-minute level.
Yep.
And then we just sell 5-minute ads. So I talk, and then there would be very little talk over at that point as well. It's a beautiful thing.
I think it would be pretty cool, pretty awesome to do a Mars podcast like that. But yeah, Mars talk show would not work too well.
Help send Gene to Mars. Donate to Unrelenting. And we will be back next week. Same unrelenting time. Same unrelenting channel.
From Mars.
Or somewhere near Mars.